Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the History of Fan Anime. I'm your host, William Chow. In today's episode, we're going to get back into a new decade, okay? So I already did the top 30 OAVAs, TV shows, and movies for the 1980s. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the 1990s, okay? So I'll start from 1990 and work all the way up to 1999 and go through each and all these significant titles from every single year and then build a big top 30 countdown. So again, this is going to take me a while. It took me almost 14 episodes to do it for 1980, and this one probably will be a lot longer because there's now the new generation. Like, my generation, started in the 80s, and of course we had to, suffer through a lot of things. Like no translations and, very hard distribution, with the VHS tapes and all that stuff. But now in the 1990s, the anime companies started kicking in. So, now there's basically a source that a lot of people can get certain types of animes and that kind of stuff. Big boom in the new OAVAs and animes and movies that sort of came out. So a lot more titles we can deal with. So, it's going to be a little bit harder than the 80s just because of the sheer volume. But again, we'll go through it all and I'll make this list of the top 30 titles for you. Okay. So before we begin, I want to remind everyone to go down below and click like and click subscribe. I know that any sort of comment that you can make will help the YouTube algorithm promote it and make it available to more people. All right. So anything that you do will be great. That's I don't ask for much, but again, if you could at least do that, then it will definitely help the YouTube algorithm. Thank you. And for those who like to support me financially, I do also have the super thanks button down below, as well as the links for the PayPal and the Patreon. Now, I've been building a lot to the Patreon recently. I've now put a lot of resources available to you people, as well as a lot of the content that is for the subscribers that I cannot put on YouTube because there's now a lot of topics I'm now covering which are not allowed to be put on the YouTube. So all those things are now available to the members there. As well as I've also now put the my audiobooks available as in audio form and on video form as well. Those are also partially free to the Patreon members, so do check that out. Okay, and so for all the other new users that are on this channel, I've also compiled all the episodes of the History of Fan Anime into a large database sheet. And if you like to basically look at different episodes that are pertaining to certain topics, like maybe CDs or maybe art books or maybe the fan culture itself, like conventions and that kind of stuff, they're all put together in a book-like fashion and they're put into the spreadsheet. Again, the link is below, as well as other resources like the database sheets for the MyAnimeList of the 1980s, and of course the top 30 animes of the 1980s is also all available in spreadsheet form there. Link is below. I also want to mention that I've done some revamping recently of my own website. I've used AI to basically help rewrite and update and make the website easy for me to put the changes to it now. So I've done half the upgrades and that kind of stuff there. So sorry to put that up. One of the most important sections, or newest sections that I wanted to always revamp was the old FAQ section. Back in the days, things like the GameFAQs.com and whatnot. They used to post up how to work at certain games and how to do different progress in different games. So again, I've had done that and put up some of the things that I've done and whatnot for that. So I've done the things that when I was doing playing Ascension, Live Beach Volleyball, playing Greaser, and Pokemon Go, all that stuff I've also put on there. I've also put all the various different tips and sort of DIY stuff for things. When I went to basically build my own drum stand, how to do mods to the Alexi's drum set, bar and that kind of stuff. I also have done things like when I bought my Korg guitar, how to do maintenance and different modifications of that. So again, if you want to have a quick look at that and see all the various different little things and more, basically know more about you, do check it out. I will do more updates and that kind of stuff as I'm going to try to transport the database and that kind of stuff all all the episodes and that comes onto this website as soon as I can figure out how to actually, get the code for that. So again, do take some time to check that out. Okay, so we are beginning with 1994. This is the summer season, so this is sort of like the third season. It's sort of in the middle, so not a lot of new stuff usually comes out. But we begin with the new TV shows, and right off the top we have Metal Fighter Miku. Now, Metal Fighter Miku, like when we got it over here, because it was licensed by Media Blasters and Central Park Media. It's only a 13 episode show, so in the regular theme of things, this is a really, this really probably should have been just an OVA, but they decided to put it out on a TV release, and being summer season, it's not the really big release season anyway, so they just needed something to fill in the gap until the next thing. So that, that's fine, it's great. But yeah, it's nice, nice animation. Obviously, this is a kind of a futuristic variation on female wrestling, where you get to kind of wear kind of like an armor and that kind of stuff. But it's good because it's a nice short series. You get character development, you get basically struggles on how to beat the opposing teams, that kind of stuff. A nice short OVA, very nice sort of artwork and that kind of stuff, because it's good female character design. But it is what it is. Right? It's a nice short series that basically bridge the gap during the summer season. Other than that, the only other title that's on this list is they obviously have a Japanese version of the story of Huckleberry Finn. No one really got copies of this episode, and no one bothered even translating it. For that matter, just get lots of new animes and that kind of stuff that were coming out. Especially big, huge focus on OVAs and movies right now. Now, that basically takes care of all the TV shows that are new. And again, typically during the summer season, the companies don't want to release big TV shows anyway. That's just because there's not a lot of eyes going that way. And there's also a lot of good stuff that they already announced that is now playing now, right? This lineup of stuff that that came out in this year is just crazy, man. I mean, okay, you have Dragon Ball Z continuing on with its run, very, very popular, lots of people watching it. Really big shows like Yu Yu Hakusho, Slam Dunk, obviously Sailor Moon S is going on. So again, big viewership numbers here, right? Of big franchises being released this year, and also continue on, right? We have Gundam G, again, the Sunrise has got their key Gundam series like this. Again, I love that series, especially the ending. It was really, really nice, and we did the fan subs for that, so I was really anxious to see when that was ending. When we were doing things, as I said, Daisuke and that kind of stuff was doing some translations and doing the fan subs for just not every episode of Sailor Moon S, but like some of the more the key ones that were doing that. I was already trying to put together all the translations for the G Gundam. Again, I know Daisuke was interested in some of the episodes, especially with the episodes having to do with the Devil Gundam and Hoovla and whatnot. So I had to patch up the rest of the episodes in between to get that one. Daisuke was also in the middle of subtitling Red Riding Hood Cha Cha. Absolutely funny series. It was really great for that. Other fan subgroups were all working on Marmalade Boy. So again, with a lot of anticipation with the episodes that they were releasing there. So that was sort of the first sort of follow up to non sci-fi kind of 3G type of movies that we normally would get. Okay, but yeah, so Marmalade Boy is definitely one movement of that respect. And I'll just finish off the list with Rai and Unite. Again, very famous artists and that kind of stuff, like Watanabe, making the art design for that one. Again, no one really did the fan subs and that kind of stuff for those shows or the translations for those shows at this particular time. But they were featured in the magazines a lot. Like Rai was really heavily pushed by Dragon magazine, and Unite ended up in Animedia a lot of times. So again, really big blockbuster summer
for TV shows. I mean, this is a lot of stuff that you would watch. So a lot of people, who are into anime and into these big series, they spend a long time during the summer to watch all these different shows. Okay, so we continue on with the OAVAs, and we have now at the beginning here the Ginga Au Densetsu, or the Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Again, then they're continually making more episodes of this series. I mean, it came out in like the late of the 80s, right, 1988 there. But because of the fact that they have literally hundreds of episodes, this is still continuing on. So again, for those people who are waiting for that, they kept on getting more episodes than that. Again, people were circulating VHS tapes of Legend of the Galactic Heroes, but most of them were without subtitles or anything like that, because no one did the translation and no one did the fan subs for it. So everyone kind of had to watch it in straight Japanese, and that really affected of how popular the series was. Okay, next one is the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So this is the original OEVA series for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So before the more modern TV series and that kind of stuff of that, this was the original one that was that came out. 6 episodes. Again, very, very popular at the time. Because it has the same artwork as the Fist of the North Star, and it has that sort of I guess instead of being an apocalyptic world, it's more like these delinquent, high school guys, the kind of guys, right? So, it kind of brought those two worlds together, and in that same kind of theme, right? So, I guess that's why a lot of people were attracted to this again, because they like that sort of mystical powers and that kind of stuff. And it's just the same way that how Dragon Ball Z and that kind of stuff is. But now, and actually for all shows, right? I'm thinking Yu Yu Hakusho as well, too, right? But so now we got an OVA series for this thing, and again, this will eventually lead to the TV series and that kind of stuff that you'll get in the future. But yeah, this is the original OVA series for that. And again, it's actually a really good watch for that too as well. And again, the next one is a Macross Plus. So they're again releasing more episodes of this particular thing. There was like 4 episodes that they made, and of course if you kind of mistake the movie version that comes out of that. But again, at this time, phenomenal artwork. And again, a lot of people who are really, really interested in the Macross franchise and that kind of stuff. Everyone was just was so waiting on these new episodes of this one to come out. It was really, really well attended whenever we did the public showings of this show. Very, very popular, and as I said, we even made a like prior to the movie version, we made a movie version as well that tied in all the 4 episodes together into a movie version, and that was one of the highest attended public showings that we actually had for that show. So it really brought a lot of people into the anime scene for that. Okay, and continue on the next line, we have more continuation of more episodes of Genocyber. So again, more of the gore fest continues, and concentrate on the gore, forget about the plot type of thing, right? Continuing on, we also have the next installment of the Ranma OAVAs. Again, really popular because the series just ended, so now people are always wanting more more continuation of that kind of stuff. So again, they continue with more OVAs. And there's something new here: the Tao Zhao, or You're Under Arrest. So this is the initial 4 OVAs that they first began with. So again, based off of the manga, very, very popular manga. They decided to make a bunch of short OVAs. And again, this will later on lead to a TV series and some extra, even more interesting OVAs afterwards. So as I said, I really like this series. It's the concept was really nice, and after the success of things like Pat Labor and Minion Tank Police and that kind of stuff, there's a sort of a very big, huge interest in like these police type shows. And so I think the rest was really really nice. I think the relationship also between Natsuki and Yamamoto was really also really nice too. So I thoroughly enjoyed that series. They're hilarious.
All right, hope you found that really interesting. And again, we'll be getting into more episodes as we go through the whole entire decade of the 1990s. All right, so until next time, I will see you again.